Hello everyone and welcome back to round 5 of the Isle of Man International Chess Tournament. My pick of the round is the game between Hungarian Grandmaster Richard Rapport and US prodigy Jeffery Xiong. Both players on 3.5 heading into this game. Rapport is known to be a very enterprising player, and Jeffery looks like he is making nice strides towards reaching that elusive 2700 club. So Rapport with the white pieces opens with d4, knight f6 from Jeffery, and c3 from Rapport, already deviating from the opening book. d5 from black, knight f3, Jeffery plays e6, we have bishop g5 developing and pinning the knight, knight b to d7, knight b to d2, and h6, bishop h4, b6, so black prepares to fianchetto the light square bishop, e4 from Rapport, opening up the light square bishop and also threatening e5. So Jeffery breaks the pin with g5, with bishop g3, d takes e4, knight e5, and bishop b7. Black is up a pawn, but white certainly has compensation here because of black's advanced kingside pawns. Bishop b5 from Rapport, we have a6 and bishop to c6. And this is a bit annoying for black because after knight takes c6, this comes with tempo on the queen. Queen c8, queen to e2, attacking this pawn, queen b7, attacking the knight, and also trying to hold on to this pawn. Knight e5 from Rapport, bishop d6 developing, and knight takes d7, which prevents black from castling. He cannot take with the knight because this pawn on e4 will be captured by white. So he goes king takes d7, hanging on to that extra pawn. White castles, and bishop to f4. So already a very double-edged position. Black wants to go h5, h4 to force white into playing bishop takes f4, which would then open up the g file for a black rook. So if that happens, this will be quite unpleasant for white to deal with. In this position, white should probably go rook a to e1, just putting more pressure on the e4 pawn. But instead, Rapport plays f3, which allows black to push e3 and now having this dangerous pass pawn on the e file. Knight c4 from Rapport, attacking this pawn, knight d5 defending, and bishop takes f4. So now this pass pawn is protected, and also black has the g file to work with. Rapport goes knight e5 check, king to e8, and queen to e1, with the idea of queen coming to h4 and c4 in order to pick up this pawn. But Jeffery reacts swiftly. He plays c5 and c4 from Rapport. So now Jeffery boldly gives up the knight with c takes d4. So these pawns are looking very dangerous, but is this enough? So now knight d3, the knight was attacked. We have queen to f5, again hitting this knight, and queen to d1 defending. King to e7 from Jeffery, trying to connect his rooks, and queen b3 from Rapport. Good move, activating the queen, looking at b6, trying to create problems for black. But of course, taking on b6 immediately isn't possible because of queen takes d3. Black goes rook h to d8, rook f to c1, and rook a to c8, challenging the open file. So here Rapport could have played queen to a3 check, trying to win this pawn. But he plays rook to c4, intending to double rooks. Jeffery responds with b5, attacking the rook, and also now there are no more targets on b6. Rook c2, king to f8, black puts its king out of the center, rook a to c1, and e5, and h3 from Rapport. So at the moment there's a lot of tension on the open c file. Jeffery now alleviates it by taking the rook, king g7, rook c7 from Rapport, putting pressure on f7. Black goes rook to e8, supporting the pawn base, queen d5 from Rapport. A nice centralizing move, looking at e5 and also f7. And for the moment this knight is immune, because if queen takes d3 then here black gets mated. So Jeffery plays rook to e6 with some ideas of attacking on the g file. And Rapport should probably play b4 here. Just waiting and locking down the queen side, because black cannot go rook g6 immediately, then white plays queen takes e5, trading off queens. And this knight can always blockade black's pawns. This is winning for white. So here Rapport plays knight takes f4, trying to take advantage of a set of pins. For example, if this is taken, then now the queen hangs. And if queen takes, then queen takes on e6, the rook is pinned. But this knight takes f4 is a very risky move, because now black goes rook to f6, defending f7. And also, now if the knight retreats to d3, then simply queen takes d3. So Rapport has to play knight to e2. But now the d pawn starts rolling. d3 from black. So white's best defense is to go knight to g3 and give up the knight. For example, this is just one of the lines. Queen g5, queen takes d3, queen takes g3, queen takes e3, then here e4, opening up a discovery on this rook. Rook c2 from white, and here black is slightly better. So this is probably the best way to play this for white. But Rapport goes knight to c3. Rook g6 from Jeffery, preparing to push e2, and the white king will have a tough time defending the pawn because of this pressure on g2. For example, if a3, e2, king to f2, then black can go rook takes g2. And if that is taken, then black queens. So here after rook g6, rook to e7 from Rapport, looking at this pawn and also maintaining pressure on f7. So here again, taking on h3 isn't possible because queen takes f7 and white wins. So Jeffery goes b4, dislodging the knight. Then e2, so this pawn is dangerously close to queening. Queen takes e5 check from Rapport, but this is already lost. Queen takes e5, rook takes e5, and Jeffery goes rook to c6, threatening rook to c1 check, and it was in this position that Rapport resigned the game. Because if he goes king f2, simply rook c1, knight d2, and then rook to d1, chasing this knight away from the defense of the f1 square. So if knight c4, then simply rook f1 check, then black promotes, and black is up an exchange in an easily won ending. So great stuff from Jeffery Xiong, playing very bravely with that knight sacrifice. So here are the standings after 5 rounds of play. We have 4 players in the lead with 4.5 points. They are Wang Hao, Arkady Naiditch, Jeffery Xiong himself, and Gupta. So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching and have a great day.